Welcome to the regular town council meeting of Weaverville Council on Monday, July 2nd, 2024. To start off our agenda this evening, we have a couple of public hearings. Some rules about our public hearings. Public hearings are topic specific. Comments on topics are allowed to be submitted in writing in advance of the meeting, and others will receive that. We're glad to hear your opinion. We will not be necessarily asking questions. Normal rules are they call apply to all comments, and you put the comments in the through. In other words, if someone's already said what you wanted to say, we heard you welcome. We want to hear your opinion, but we have a large crowd tonight, so we want to limit the each public hearing to 20 minutes. So speak to disrespect. When I call your name, please come to the podium, and you will have 3 minutes. Each people have 3 minutes to speak. The town clerk over here has a very loud and annoying clock that will go off and you can start. But if you want to written comments after the meeting, you're welcome to do that as well. I want to point out that we have acting manager Chief Harris is actually on Zoom tonight, as is council member here in the wire today. This is in by Zoom. We're on Zoom tonight as well. With that all being said, the first hearing is regarding the annexation of Maple Trace, and both sides is the first speaker.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I want to thank you for letting me speak about the Maple Trace annexation. Before I say anything about that, I wanted to just say a word about Public Works Director Pennell. I became acquainted with him when I went to the Citizens Academy, and I was really impressed by the pride he takes in his team's accomplishments. I got to hear him talk about the new playground and his joy in watching the children play, and he's talked about his dedication to the town of Weaverville, and I was really impressed by his entire team and their dedication. So I came to respect him quite a bit. And because of that, it bothers me when someone addressing the council insinuates that he may be involved in corrupt activities, as was mentioned in the June meeting. I hope the council will be vocal in the support of Mr. Pennell and address these kind of improprieties. So, at the Maple Trace, I've driven through the community several times. It's a very attractive community, charming community. It'd be a welcome addition. So let's make it happen. But let's make it happen on the terms that we use with every other annex community. Let's hold them to the same standards that we do other communities, and the same standards that we hold our own citizens to. It's a proven strategy to pay the upfront price, and pays off over time. So to clarify my relationship with Mr. Pennell, I met him while going through the Citizens Academy. That's the extent of our relationship. I don't know him socially in any other manner, and what I'm saying tonight is just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Catherine Haynes.
It would be
Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. Jeff McKenna.
Evening, Jeff McKenna, 30 Oak Street. I'm agreeing with the gentleman that just spoke, by the way, and by the way, my comments have nothing to do with the folks at Maple Trace. As mentioned in the previous meeting, they're wonderful people. It's a very high quality development. My comments are all around two things: the credibility of the council and the staff, especially under Dale's team, and just risk for the town. If you make a decision that allows Maple Trace to come into the roads as they are, in my view, you're opening up the town to a huge amount of risk for a number of reasons. There's, in my time on council and as a citizen, I don't think that we've ever allowed another development in, or an existing development with roads that didn't meet town standards. So if you do that, in my mind, you're going to open yourself up to a huge number of potential discussions and or lawsuits. And the return on investment in so doing, if there's people that want to do this, presumably there's an upside to it. That would take a lot of calculation. I don't know what that would be, that would cause you to just turn back on all of the previous decisions. The other thing that I noted, there's been a lot of meetings that have been devoted to this where Maple Trees is pitching themselves directly to council. And I don't really understand that approach. In the past, you had to get by the public works group and their standards, and then you came before council. And it seems like y'all are setting yourself up a lot of time spent in the future negotiating directly with projects when it ought to go to public works. It meets their seal of approval, comes before you guys and just a personal opinion on that. You know, all that being said, there may be a rationale in the future. I don't know, for looking at our town road standards and putting them in line with DOT or county. There would be trade-offs with that. There would be upside and downside. I know that if you do that, you've got a lot less buffer to work with in a lean budget here. So, but that's the kind of discussion that you need to have on the side with Dale and his team, not in the moment on the decision. So again, my urging would be that you, if you do accept and annex in Maple Trees and Smoothie Roads, exclude it or bring them up to standards. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrew Nagel?
Andrew Nagel with a 300-acre road, Asheville, North Carolina. And I think that confuses people. I've talked to some people recently who have a Weaverville address and they live in Madison County and they think they live in Weaverville. Your mailing address has nothing to do with where you reside in the town, where you pay taxes and can vote. So we voted you folks into office. Not the people making trades. We pay your salary. I think you need to be aware of who you're listening to on this topic. And I think the two other speakers highlighted some very, very important things. I think Catherine, the last meeting, was trying to do some math. Somebody mentioned there was going to be $1 million in taxes collected over 10 years, something like that. I believe it's going to cost $852,000 to repay the 1.4 miles of road and trace. So you're not waiting. The first 10 years you're going to pay to repay the road. So I'm in favor of annexing. I don't know anybody who's in the trace. Whether they're good people or not, I don't care. They may be great people, they may be terrible people. That's not how you decide who to annex. If you remember back, I think it was about 7 years ago, it didn't make it out of planning and zoning. Okay, so they went to planning and zoning, and the decision at that time was not to even get to council to be annexed. You know, annex them without their roads, just like Creekside Village, just like Hyde Fields. We have lots of subdivisions that the town is not responsible for, you know, taking the roads. So listen to your public works director. He's done a great job for the town for the last 7, 8 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Darrell Turno?
As the other said, I think that Maple Trees would be a great addition to our community. But at the same time, you have a tough decision because you have to weigh the costs and benefits. It's not a simple decision. And I want to focus on the roads and what happened at your July 16th council workshop that I attended, where Vice Mayor Chase raised the issue of reevaluating road standards in light of annexation issues and suggested a potential tiered approach to road standards. Town council agreed to the value of this review and designated September 17th workshop for this discussion. And they also had a great suggestion of prior to this workshop, having staff collect and present data on the actual longevity of roads that are constructed to meet those standards, as well as having someone from DOT talk about the comparable data for their roads. So it would be great to have some more facts on this issue. But I really applaud the council for moving in this direction, to kind of relook at the road standards. It's not that they weren't a good idea back then, and there's the cost benefit, I understand, the long-term, short-term. But if you have a goal of managing growth in a way that enhances our community, you have a very robust growth and management strategy, and we may need to like relook at this in ways, you know, within that context, which didn't exist 20 years ago when we wrote to the growth standard, whether some adjustments need to be made. So I'm encouraged that you are planning to undertake that review. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe Wheeler.
Good evening. My name is Joe Wheeler, and my wife and I have lived in Wood Preston Fort in Weaverville for the past 18 years. And I'm like everybody else, I don't have anything against the people of Maple Trace. I just want to live under the same laws that we have. I am speaking against the annexation of Maple Trace and Lexington Hill. They agree to fully comply with the road standards that we, in addition, all aspects of the drainage system must be inspected and found to be in compliance by the Interim of the Weaverville Public Works Department. Nothing more or less should be asked by any other developer. Of the road course samples taken in Maple Trace, 43% have been found to be below standard, and a complete inspection of the drainage system has not been completed. Maple Trace's main decision is at the expense of compliance with too costly. The developer of Maple Trace opted not to come into our town, but saving capital that would otherwise be spent to satisfy the higher road standards required by Weaverville. However, this left those expenses to be paid by the property owner, who they later decide to come into our town. One thing I also would like to say from the last meeting, I was really kind of shocked about the way I thought they disparaged to the officers and Maple Trace disparaged the good name and the honest work product of Mr. Kenneth. We invite him back to be one of the most respected members of our town in and out of government. A vote in favor of Maple Trace's request for annexation would go against established regulations that is not justified by logical reason. The rule of law starts at home and is free to establish a precedent that would open a Pandora's box for new problems for this and future council that will surely erode the integrity and legal force of our regulations, thus making good government more difficult. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes everyone to speak on the public hearing for annexation Maple Trace. So I'll call that public hearing closed.
Mr. Mayor, I would just note that we did receive 3 written comments that were sent to you earlier today, and we have a copy in front of you. Those 3 comments were submitted by Michael Scholler, Beth Marks, and Karen Lasser, and then these are all in favor of the annexation of Maple Trace.
Thank you for that. Now over to the second public hearing, which is on the zoning request for Maple Trace of R2. Again, we have 2
I signed up, I thought I signed up to Maple Trace, I may have signed up to the wrong, on the people.
Okay, what's your name? Greg Warren, and so become for now. I'm taking you off the other. There may well be others, I know we had 3 sign-in sheets, so there are others, are there others who want to speak on making trace and modify the wrong one? Yeah. So then we'll take you, minutes. And you're saying it's right, okay? I know it's confusing. 3 different, comments, I did all. And so reading against Richard Craig.
My name is Craig Wilmington. My wife and I live at 5 by Meadow Drive, here in Green Street Development. As a background, I'm a former real estate developer, also was a board member, and chair of the technical review committee for Green Street for the last 3 years. And I worked with public works director, during my time as chair of the audit over there on our drainage and road issues. As a little background, I was in the shopping center business before I started, and I maintained over 100 acres of asphalt, obviously shopping centers and streets. It's my responsibility to put them in the first place, maintaining them and replacing them as we go. So I have a lot of experience with those, including doing condominium development, where we had to do the amortization schedule to fund capital improvement, which is the normal way to manage. I also inspected the roads. Obviously, Dale's report is more accurate, but I clearly noticed that alligator in the flat section by the mailboxes, which indicates that the sub-base is failing. When you fix it, you have to take it all the way down 8 inches of dirt and build the road back up in order to be flat. I support the annexation, same as everybody else. To leave this money for the effective roads have to be accounted for in some way. To annex them otherwise, I think you can give the public funds to as a public private entity, which I think is questionable. I'm troubled that the applicant did not comply with doing the requested borings. I've never heard of an applicant asking for something for their compliance. To do all public works directly and not do what they're asked to do in order to help town know what's costing. So I think that should be done. And finally, I think the HOA can and should pay for the cost of where the protected roads are. Then they can be annexed, it should be. But it can be done multiple ways. The town can build the roads and have it protected. Or the HOA can do an assessment to them, or I like the idea of annexing out the roads. And then they're responsible for it and they're still in. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda Miller.
Hi, I'm Linda Miller, and I actually live in the place, so I hope that my speaker can be listened to. I would like to say a couple of things. First of all, we hear an awful lot about the roads, and I understand that they're not exactly up to standard, but it's also my understanding that we just a small amount. I would like to say that Maple Trace is a community of very nice houses. Your tax base would be incredibly increased with annexation. And the fact that we are a lot of retired professionals means that the usage of our roads is much lower than, say, for instance, Main Street. So we have people who don't go in and out twice a day. And the traffic is very low. So our roads would last an awful lot longer than some of the other roads in communities that see a lot more use. And I would also like to say that it doesn't seem that a lot of people in Maple Trace have asked to speak, but I know that the whole neighborhood is behind the annexation with the roads. And truly, it's only worth it to us as individual homeowners if we are annexed with the roads. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Schoner.
My name is Michael Shaner, and I'm a proud resident of the community of Maple Trace. I believe a yes vote would be a win-win for both the town of Weaverville and the community of Maple Trace. I would like to take a pure business approach to the analysis and decision making of the town of Weaverville and the city of Maple Trace. Currently, Maple Trace is a liability to the town of Weaverville. We incur costs to the town without generating any property tax revenue. The residents of Maple Trace are already part of the community due to the proximity to the town. Therefore, we are already using Weaverville roads and infrastructure on a daily basis. We already use facilities such as the community center, Maple Leaves, Nature Preserve. Multiple residents of Maple Trace come to Weaverville daily for all these wonderful roads, facilities, and services, yet pay no property taxes for everything. You can turn Maple Trace into an asset for every liability. To many, there appears to be a solid black and white line of distinction regarding the roads meeting the town of Weaverville standard. The fact is, in most business decisions, there is no black and white. There are always gray areas that have to be considered. The last town meeting, there were comments that the engineer made, the builder could build roads with the cheapest process, procedures, materials, no thought of standards, etc. That's not true. Our roads were built to standards, just because they're not legal. Some of the people who spoke made it sound like our roads would fall and crumble in the next 2 to 3 years. That's not going to be the case. Rather, this comments, I heard a scare tactic that the current citizens of Weaverville will have to pay for these repairs. I do not believe the current citizens' Weaverville taxes would increase due to annexation of Maple Trace. And after getting the property tax base, Maple Trace would help pay not only for their roads, but also the other roads in Weaverville. I believe there is a good reason for Weaverville standards could be a little bit above NCDOT and county standards. Mostly because of all roads are basically road roads, people are using them, and visitors use like Maple Trace about paying for whatever. But keep in mind, our roads were built for standard and free. Not just built as cheaply as possible, as some have indicated. Maple Trace has no freeways. You do not have any through traffic and people going to and from work, play, shopping, dining, appointments, etc. The only people using our roads are residents, family, friends, services, and livings. This is a fraction of their entail from any of the road or the town of Weaverville. Many of Maple Trace wants to become citizens of the town of Weaverville. They are already part of the community and become a tax-paying member of the community. Please allow us to all be better community members by voting yes on the annexation of Maple Trace, letting us be proud citizens of the town of Weaverville. Thank you for the time and consideration. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wanted to comment from the public hearing on Maple Trace?
Which public hearing we still have?
The public hearing for annexation of Maple Trace. There's no one else, I'm closing this public hearing and going to move to open the public hearing on the zoning request for Maple Trace to be zoned at R2. Now, a couple of speakers will come to the students at the panel.
My comments are duplicate.
Thank you. And Nichols.
Andrew Nagel, 300 Acre Road. So R2 fits the bill, great, no worries. Couple comments. Main Street is not a Weaverville road, for those of you who don't know that. It's maintained by the state. So the majority of the thoroughfares in the town of Weaverville are actually paid with your state tax dollars, not the county. So that's that. No through traffic is an interesting comment because on my 8 years on council, I was very opposed to no through traffic roads being paid by me. So my philosophy was Highfields, Creekside Village should be private roads because they're not used by the majority of taxpayers. What's frustrating is we've been through this. We went through the debacle of Creekside Village. What we learned in Creekside Village was the developer openly lied to the people buying the houses and told them they would become public roads. And people bought their houses. When you buy a house, there's a box you check and it says, you know, if the road's public or private. And bad for the people of Creekside Village. They were told it'll be, public, but they'll house, no, it's private road. And they fought hard. And, during that, it was pretty contentious, and they did what they said they did. They said they would get somebody on council elected. So I applaud the folks from Creekside Village. We now have a council member who's from Creekside Village. So that's the democratic process at work. You know, when we did this 2 or 3 years ago, and we voted at Creekside Village, we asked all the towns, we advertised it, or not towns, the developments, if you want your roads to become public, speak up now. And we wrote some new rules for Dale and his team that we wanted to treat roads similar to water. Let's get in front of it, not behind it. Let's talk about roads before the development, not after it's built, just like we do with water. And I could be wrong, but I don't remember Maple Trace coming forward back then. Pink Fox jumped 1-8 up by, you know, the golf course came forward, but they wanted to keep their gate on the road and have taxpayers pay for the roads. So annex them, don't annex the roads. R2 makes sense. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to speak on these elements? If not, I'm closing the public hearing on that as well. Thank you all for your comments. Next time, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, you've seen the agenda, tonight and had a chance to do it. And we did, I motion to approve the agenda or from the budget to be made. Make the motion to approve. Thank you all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, council, it is our duty as mayor and council members to avoid both conflicts of interest and appearances of such. Does anyone have a conflict of interest or the appearance of such as they need to be alerted to this tonight? And none, we do not. Next up is item 6 of consent agenda, and I want to have the Attorney Jackson go through that instead of Chief Harris, because he's on Zoom and he's working with what's instead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council. So we've had a couple sets of, actually 3 sets of minutes, one from your June 17th special call meeting, one from your June 18th workshop meeting, which was your last budget workshop and adoption of that meeting. You also have your regular monthly, meeting minutes from June 24. I will note that there is a recommended change on page 25. Under Mrs. Turno's, she requested a slight modification to her comments there, and requested that read as requesting the council's response to the recent developments and requesting. So we recommend that you do that with that minor change. You've got another tax report, and I'm pleased to report to you that we are down at 99.91% collection rate as of the end of June, and we rezoned $3,844 and some cents left to collect in that year. So that's really good. It's about where we always hope to be. We have a couple of refunds releases and refunds for your property tax levy in the amount of $12.52. And one for your motor vehicle levy in the amount of $61.71. So we would recommend those releases be approved. We've got a couple of budget amendments. Beginning at page 37, we've got a budget amendment for the police department. Some ABC funds have come in, and so this is receiving those funds and getting them into the department so that they can be spent. And then over on page 39, we've got a recreation complex. I believe it was a bench that was, somebody made a donation for a bench. And so that money comes in $1,471.02. To receive that into the community center / recreation complex project. Any questions on any of the consent agenda?
If there are no questions to the consent agenda, then we have a motion to approve the agenda. Thank you all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. Next is the town manager's report. Chief Parrott, you feel okay to speak from where you're at?
Yes, sir. Hopefully y'all can understand and hear me. A couple things on the manager's report. Pickleball courts, I sent you an email stating they would be closed for approximately 2 weeks starting today. The contractor notified us that due to the weather, they couldn't start today, so that process will be delayed. The 4th of July event, we had a great turnout for that. The only thing we would hope for next year, we can do a better job with Mother Nature of turning down the heat. We are actually working on some after action reviews now with staff. We've already got that process and doing a more in-depth detail on it of working with our staff to work through those to make the next year's event even greater. We have had some recent meetings with the WBA for town staff as well as leadership that they have to talk about some of the events, the music on Main, and how we continue that collaborative partnership of growing the events. As recently as the 18th, I had a meeting with Camille from the WBA to talk about Florida Avenue, just to kind of bring me up to speed on where we're at and talk about some lighting in that aspect. So we continue to work with the WBA on those partnerships and working together for collaborative effort. One of the things that we discussed in the first WBA meeting was social districts. A new vision was tried on that aspect of WBA's Music on Main, and it proved to be successful, although it did prove with some challenges and therefore some opportunities presented itself. In those opportunities, we felt that teamwork and discussion in the after action review with town staff and the leadership of the WBA, we learned to foster a culture and improving experience for that events. There's still a need for work to be done if the event wanted to be extended to more than once a year, or for a permanent solution to the social districts. If we wanted to make it a permanent aspect, there's still a lot of learning and obstacles that we need to overcome before we could tackle that challenge. One of the things I've been doing is walking and meeting with the business owners in the downtown district, stopping in at the shops. Got some good feedback on that. One of the suggestions from one of the business owners was public restrooms, and I think that may have come before council previously. But I did, talk with her and explain that I would address it and look at opportunities. One of the things I come up with is the TDA, if we can reach out to them with tourism dollars and see if that could help fund a public restroom downtown, since to me it specifically ties in to tourism. So looking at that aspect and see how we can meet the business owners in the middle and continue to provide that service from a town perspective and the tourism that comes in there. The Ellico watershed, the trail system, staff met with an on-site visit Thursday. We had staff from the trail design committee as well as our town staff out there, and during that visit some residents local to it brought up some concerns regarding parking, so we did meet with them on site, and then on Friday we followed up with a staff conference call to discuss some parking options with the trail design committee and weighed out some options and continue to have those discussions in more depth and in detail to try to address concerns of the neighborhood there of where that parking area could go and some safety concerns in that feature from a town staff standpoint, as well as the trail shed system staff as well. That's all I got for the manager's report. I'll be glad to take any questions.
Any questions from anyone? Thank you, Chief. We appreciate that. For those of you who don't understand, acting speaking, Chief, WBA is the Weaverville Business Association, and TDA is the Tourism Development. Next item up is on engage general public comments. Again, the same rule that you were earlier with the authority public hearing applies here. There are several people have done, I want to remind you to explain the limit and each at 2 minutes to speak. If someone's already said, given your thought, it's okay to say. That being said, first up is Vicki Weiner.
Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak. I'm here to talk about the watershed sales project. And this is the my husband Gary and I have resided at 780 Elk Mountain City Highway since 2009. Gary can't be here tonight, so I'm speaking on his behalf and also for my concerned neighbors on Elk Mountain City Highway.
As your boots on the ground, who live on and best understand this corridor of Old Mountain Scenic Highway, we are uniquely positioned to be your partners in the effort to ensure the safety of those who venture near the hike and to ensure our own safety based on our knowledge of foreseeable logistic issues this corridor of Elk Mountain Scenic Highway presents. Based on their emergency responses in the past several years, the Sheriff's Office and Fire Department can confirm that the strip of road descending from Buzzard Rock to the almost 90-degree curve between 800 and 788 Elk Mountain Scenic Highway is dangerous and without exaggeration, potentially deadly. Motorists, both familiar and unfamiliar with the mountain, routinely and excessively ignore the speed limit as they descend past Buzzard Rock. Any traffic survey would confirm what we experience every single day. My good neighbors reported this danger to the authorities over 10 years ago, but despite the warning signs installed by the county, the danger persists. In the last 2 years alone, there have been 4 near fatalities, 2 involving cyclists unfamiliar with the mountain and 2 involving local motorists descending at high rates of speed who, unable to control their vehicles at the curve past 800, careened off the road into the deep gully 50 yards below the curve. But for the grace of God, these cars flew past huge trees before landing nose first in the scrub and rock. With the help of EMS responders, the drivers emerged injured but alive. This was almost directly in front of my home and it's harrowing to witness. Our understanding is that the intended parking area for the trailhead will be carved from a small 110-yard swath between the driveway of 128 Elk Wallow Trail and my property line, which falls almost directly below the descending curve past 800 Elk Mountain Scenic Highway. The residents of this corridor walk the mountain daily. We walk our pets on this road, some with children and grandchildren in tow. We don't have the benefit of sidewalks like the towns and cities below us. We respectfully ask that you consider our safety resulting from the predictable increase in traffic this project will create. This is not like the trailhead off the Ridge Parkway where there are no private homes or pedestrian traffic. This will be yards from our driveways where we walk with our families and pets and pick up our mail. We also know from our collective experience that when trailhead parking is full, motorists will create their own parking and will park on the opposite side of the road or above and below a trailhead. On Elk Mountain Scenic Highway, this will even further narrow the ability to navigate the dangerous curve below 800. The potential for accidents and injury under this scenario is foreseeable and should be seriously considered in the decision to be made. And because of the foreseeability of these incidents, the liability to which the town and county could be exposed should not be.
Finish your thought about that.
Sorry?
Finish your thought.
Okay, I have one more sentence. We understand how challenging it is to embark on a project of this scope. As this project continues to unfold, we'll be grateful to those of us in Elk Mountain Scenic Highway who are directly impacted by the logistics of the plan and open on communication with this council and the site. Thank you.
Beth Niffen?
Hey, I'll make this brief. I'll get a little media time. Mr. Mayor, council members and town staff, and also like to recognize our police chief also, for our fire chief is here tonight, but we appreciate it. I mean, I see your men and women on the police force all the time, always wave and stuff, and they're really some of the heroes of the town, they really are. My name is Jeff Nick, and I'm the Maple Trace HOA president. And I really want to thank the homeowners that came out tonight. Could you just raise your hand for a minute? We've got a lot of folks there. Wow, that's great. We understand how important this is for us, and I know there's been a lot of controversy and such. Maple Trace is a great community because of the wonderful, like I said, the homeowners. We also love and enjoy the shops, the restaurants, the parks, and special activities that we will have. They have a lot to offer. I know how much the annexation means to our homeowners, and we look forward to a yes vote tonight. We love the town of Weaverville, don't we, folks? And we want to be able to say Weaverville is our home. Thank you. Thank you.
Joe Raymond?
Good evening.
My name is Jill Raymond. I am a resident on Elk Mountain Scenic Highway, 1955. My father fell in love with Elk Mountain Scenic Highway, bought about over 300 acres, and my property abuts the Weaverville watershed. And my mother died about 7 years ago, and my sisters and I are now selling 400 acres off, little by little. I'm the managing member. But to go into what's happening with the watershed as a child, we were not, never went in there because the water, for Weaverville. And so we found out that it was going to change into a bike park, and all of the animals up there, the bears, bats, the salamanders and so forth, will all be, directly affected. And so so one of the questions they have on there is, how will you measure the success of combination of conservation and environmental benefits? And it says, according to wildlife managers, habitat loss due to development is among the greatest threats to wildlife, and that is in what you're saying, on the trailhead composure. So I just don't understand how that will coincide with the animals and so forth. Also, where they're proposing to put the parking is surrounded all by residential homes. There won't be any, open time, closed time. Theoretically, people could be there until midnight, making a lot of noise. Light pollution, noise pollution. There could not be any facilities. Well, how is that going to impact all the residents and about Scenic Highway? Because it's a logging road, and it's very narrow. It doesn't have any signs that you can go to. So it's a very scary situation for all of us. And also it says, how does the project consider and mitigate the potential impacts on the community? And page 16, it says, we do not foresee this project having any potential negative impact on the surrounding communities. I mean, first of all, no one even came to told us. I'm a property owner since 1955. I have flat there. It's actually, I talked to Southern Appalachian about donating 60 acres of my back property. And I'm just appalled that there's going to be bikes in there, just ripping that up. It's like a bog. It doesn't have full sun. It's just magnificent. And I'm very worried and concerned I'm concerned about the road and the hazard of bikers and the big part of it. There's not super.
Thank you. Dr. Freeman?
Hi, Mike, her husband. I just want to build on something that Vicki was talked about. Excuse me, that's the issue of safety on Elk Mountain Scenic Highway. 33. That's the number of in turns between the golf club, country club of Asheville, and where we live on Elk Mountain Scenic Highway. Many of those are very tight hairpin turns, and the rest of them are all turns you don't have visibility from 1 to maybe 150 feet. We've had numerous accidents over the years, and I'm so told 3 automobiles all seconds off of the side of the highway when they fought over the side. Where this access is supposed to be located is really not a safe area. I want to build on that. And then, in addition to that comment, there are 8 criteria which you're using to grade this project, as I read. And each one of them has a weight between 20%, 25%, 5%. Safety is weighted at 5%. And I think that's woefully short. I think part of the concern of all the people in this room are the first safety of the citizens. I thank you very much.
Emily Boyd?
Hello,
My name is Emily Boyd, and I live immediately adjacent to the Weaverville watershed property. Last Thursday, when town of Weaverville representatives in the Buncombe County Passive Recreation Lands Subcommittee were concluding the site visit portion of the grant application process in my driveway, and I approached to find out what was going on. It was the first time I or any of my neighbors had heard about the ghost trail system. I was told you're planning a 5 to 10 car pull-off adjacent to my driveway as the only vehicle access to the 300 acres. As stated in the grant application, one primary concern is the potential popularity of the trail system and how that popularity might overwhelm the parking and capacity of the site. If an entrance is required on Elk Mountain Scenic Highway, there's a better location for the parking area that would move the entrance to the trail system out of the residential area into a safer and longer stretch of road between Buzzards Rock and the cell tower. I will provide a graphic. I drove to the mountain bike areas on Friday and Saturday, and despite the rain weather, parking lots were full. There were a lot of bikers congregating in the parking areas. This is different. It takes more space than the way hikers typically behave in parking lots, and enough space should be planned adjacent to vehicle areas to accommodate pre- and post-ride activities. All of the other local mountain biking areas I visited have large parking areas, most with restrooms and trash cans. I am also worried about having a parking area in our rural neighborhood. Elk Mountain Scenic Highway is not regularly patrolled by any law enforcement and is a destination for young people at night. If you create a parking area there for the trail system, it will be used at night. We already regularly have people turning into our driveway looking for a place to hang out despite the no trespassing signs. As everyone knows, Buzzards Rock is a destination day and night. My children say they regularly see their peers posting pictures of drinking and smoking at night on Buzzards Rock. Creating another place for this to happen adjacent to homes where families are trying to live quietly is undesirable. I worry that I will have to call the sheriff on a regular basis instead of feeling safe to walk around outside after dark. Also, do you have a plan to control litter? And who is going to be sure that the trails are not used at night and that no one camps in the watershed? If the parking area is in a proposed location adjacent to our houses, we and our neighbors will lose our sound privacy in addition to our physical privacy. All of us live up here because we like the isolation and proximity to nature. Putting a parking area in our quiet neighborhood that will be busiest during the same times that we are at home trying to relax and enjoy our downtime will significantly reduce our quality of life. If the town of Weaverville could identify and purchase some land near the Eller Cove entrance to the watershed for a dedicated off-road parking area, trash cans, and bathroom, local residents would more easily be able to use the trail system, and tourists coming to ride or hike the trails would spend their tourism dollars in Weaverville businesses. If you direct tourists to enter the trail system on Elk Mountain Scenic Highway, it is unlikely they will stop in Weaverville for food and drinks after their time on the trails. Additionally, having the main entrance and parking area in Green Street would make it much easier for town of Weaverville staff to monitor and maintain. I'm also concerned that we won't be able to adequately monitor and control the trail conditions and usage. A similarly sized project in Canton, Chestnut Mountain Nature Preserve, has the ability to close its trails when weather conditions are such that riding is damaged to trails. They were closed due to the rain on Saturday when other mountain bike areas were full of cars, and were closed again today to protect the trails and the water and the nature. I'll stop there. Thank you for your time.
Howard Turner.
Darla Turnout, 16 Lakeshore Drive. I'm a resident. At last month's council meeting, I asked council to be transparent with the public about what's going on between town council and the town manager. A month has gone by, and town council has still not taken action on the town manager's pending employment agreement, an issue dangling in the wind for 6 months now. With no action and no public statements to date from town council, the only way citizens have learned that something is going on behind the scenes is due to a series of Tribune articles. Beginning on May 30th, the paper has published multiple stories based on their public records requests of council members' emails. It is clear from these emails that our town council is not operating as it should. As I said in my June 24th comments, failure to approve the town manager's employment agreement and salary package promptly may result in losing our valuable town manager. Delaying this decision disrespects the town manager who deserves the full throated support of our elected representatives. Good leaders and staff have options to go somewhere else. If your inaction results in the departure of manager Coffey, you will own the outcome and all of its consequences. The voters of Weaverville elected 7 council members, each with an equal vote. It is past time for the town manager's employment agreement and salary package to be brought to a regular council meeting for citizens to have an opportunity to comment and for council to take a recorded vote. If the majority, which means 4 of the 7 of you, vote in favor of the motion, it is adopted. It's time for action and accountability. As I said last month, there are many challenges ahead facing our town due to accelerated growth. Now more than ever, we need a town council and a town government that are working together to plan for and manage growth in ways that preserve the charm and character of this community that we all love. Please do the right thing for the community before it is too late. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kenneth.
I'm good, thanks.
Thank you, and Nagel.
Andrew Nagel, 300 Acre Road. That was interesting timing. I'm sorry to see Selena's not here tonight. Worked with Selena for 8 years. Had a good working relationship with her, and she always knew where I stood. I didn't beat around the bush. In those 8 years, I don't believe once I voted to rehire her or give her a raise. And obviously I was in the minority because every year she retained her job and got a raise. And when I say raise, her compensation went up. My beef with Selena dates to the beginning when she was hired. She lives in Fletcher. I believe town managers should live in the town. Her predecessor, Michael Bowes, lived in town. His predecessor, Mike Morgan, did not for 30 years. And he was all happy to annex and grow, but never annex his own neighborhood. So that was town council and town manager's choice. And the town manager works at the pleasure of the town council, not the other way around. A lot of the things Selena did were at the direction of council. So she was a good manager, no doubt. She wasn't great, she was good. I've worked with a lot of managers in my 33 years of experience in the private sector. She served at the pleasure of council for 8 years, which is longer than the average in the state, which is 6 years. Not as long as Mike Morgan, who I think did it for 30 years. And sometimes turnover is good. You got a new council. The voters voted in a new council. So I made a phone call to her a couple of weeks ago, and like I said, I wish she was here. And my suggestion to her was to find an elegant solution to this problem, and go out on a positive note, not go out on a negative note and get down in the gutter and tarnish all the good things she's done. But she didn't do it alone. Her biggest asset was hiring me. She's hired great police chiefs, great fire chiefs. Probably a weakness was I use the word chiefs. So we've had a lot of turnover in the management of this town. So hopefully you guys can come to an amicable separation, but I believe her time has come and gone, and she can move on to bigger and better things. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Dr. Nero?
Lou Apanero. I sleep at 24 Harrowview Lane, and I live at 10 South Main Street. Well, 15 years ago, I was asked to be the chairman of the board of ABC. It was a pleasure.
I've had many politicians say it's the best ABC store in the state in North Carolina. And it represents Weaverville. After owning 26 North Main Street for almost 30 years, I found a tenant I was looking for. And after 14 years, I sold it to Judy Cliff 2 years ago. You know the building. As well written. Then, the old fire station. About 15 years ago. You know it is Twisted Laurel, All Good Coffee, and Maggie D's. And never once did I ever ask what Weaverville could do for me. And then, 4 or 5 years ago, one of the best police chiefs we ever had resigned, Greg Phillips. And he had at least 5 more years ago. And then came Tom Davis, who did an excellent job. And he resigned. Why all of a sudden do I feel the staging of a lawsuit against the taxpayers of Weaverville? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We have one last speaker, we're all over our 20 minutes, with one speaker left, Joe Wheeler, do you?
I should have signed that later.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you all of you for your time. That concludes our general public comments. We went to, discussion and action items. Ladies and gentlemen, we've heard a lot about Maple Trace. Are there any other questions or comments that the council must have regarding, the application report for Maple Trace?
Mayor, if I could clarify one thing in your cover sheet, we've gotten a little bit of clarifying information from the Board of Elections. I was originally told a couple weeks ago that we were entering a blackout period from August 1 through the national election on November 5th. They have actually, in response to the question from Councilmember Wood, they reached back out and said that they did a little bit further research and they could kind of finesse it on there, and then so there's not really a blackout period on this.
Councilman, what was the question of the council you have at this point?
I have a couple of questions. Number one, I wanted to do the job of really, if I want discussions and so forth. I've lived in Weaverville for 50 years. In 2007, I believe it's about 4 years ago that Dale Penn showed us a ranking of roads to be repaved and so forth. I speak to some of that, but things change year by year. So I don't put my position here in repaving the street. Yeah, I still think it's repaved in a long time. But that is the standard we go by. And my question is, how would you rate the current towns and roads in the neighborhood, notwithstanding the ones that we just said, they have needs that need to be repaved? How would that rank in the order of things that you got?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'll answer that question, but I want to publicly thank people who have spoken to us kind words about my time here in Weaverville. I'm regularly over this town. I'm glad to do the work for the town that we do. Now to answer your question, the lower road that we've been talking about, this is running very high on the list to be on the next phase. Based on current condition of that section of road and previous repairs that have failed, and the road bike today, and you see wet spots coming up through the cracks when it hasn't rained that much. That means there's water underneath contributing to the problem. So, like the other road, I would say right now, the other roads are, they're not in perfect new condition, but they're we rank a brand new road or a brand new paved road with a number of 100.
And a road that's in terrible shape is, Leslie Point, and that's the ones that we put on the paper. They rank high, they be in the 80 to 90 range, but for what they're right now. And so, you know, on the way, that is your way.
Yeah, we talked about repaying. Most of the road work, rather than paying, we do pay. Or, very tough, we have 5 small systems. Would it be appropriate to make a condition that, we would not repay the roads for a number of years, that we maintain with, fix the potholes that are placed. I don't make it clear in the question.
As an on the course of 90, there is a call. For instance, mayor called one day and he got the call from the citizens about major pothole down at Lake Louise on Lake Louise Drive near the overflow park. And, we took care of that same day. And so it really, they can develop many reasons for the building actions that become, a problem. It could be, an area that's something new, membrane, it could be just a bad place to go to, the number issue. And yes, we do go and fix those from there at all. But as you can see with the current condition of, Alabama Avenue and Central Avenue, it comes time to do that once in 25-year pavement project. It's quite a disturbing circumstance that you have to drive on at the time. And we take all the pavement off and do all the repairs underneath, so that the road is soon to be, what, outlast most days.
You want to put it in the comment?
I would like to get some more thoughts from the council. If we consider putting any kind of conditions, or it seems to be, I've heard several different kind of things. A period of time when we wouldn't do that, but we took and maintain these kind of things, like potholes, other things, not like that. I would be interested to know, some of the other council thoughts.
So what are our comments, what council regarding any kind of condition?
The one question I had was, has the efficiency request been actually completed? And without all of that.
Are you talking about the resolution that you adopted?
Sufficiency part of that.
Oh, the certificate of sufficiency?
There was some other requirements along the way.
Yes, I think you're talking about
Yes.
So the clerk has, originally certified that all of the owners, did sign the petition, so it's a fully voluntary annexation. We did that originally in October of last year, and then recertified that to you in May of this. It's to account for any of the property transfers that occurred. There were a couple of items, that the town council directed, public works director, town engineer, Mr. Pendleton, to take care of. The testing of the roads has been a big conversation. To my knowledge, the stormwater system has still not been assessed. Mr. Pendleton, it's, believe it was not, the quote that we got from a current contractor is $9,000 to do that work with a little bit of support from the town staff. So that has not been done. The zoning has been, the planning board has done the recommendation, obviously. I really think it's just, where town council believes
the testing of the roads and then the snow.
And I know that a lot of documentation on the phone, like, system, you don't know, and so, and staff, it's about what's been provided or
We can't hear you.
I understand that it was all permitted and inspected by local county, there's no number of documents out there, but nothing that has to apply to that or not. You know, they like to hear.
The developer and his engineer and the leadership of the HOA provided to me what they received from Rutland County to serve as evidence for the quality of the fundraising system. The problem is that what the county requires you to do is purely related to your stormwater pond and the stormwater treatment system. It doesn't address the actual piping system under the road at all. I read through all the documents they presented, and there's some very detailed operation and maintenance, requirements for the 4 stormwater ponds that are within Weaverville together. And they have a map, 4 different maps in 4 pages that shows all the storm drainage top, like storm drainage top in the entire development under the road and one that discharge to the stormwater ponds. But that's the information, nothing in the documentation had any reference or significance at all to the storm drainage piping system that we are using.
I think.
I have a question about that. The Duncan County Planning Director, when you have recently, one of the step plans in building developments. In building developments such as like, I was told that, I read this is a response to me. This is to confirm that the Medicaid place residential subdivision wasn't through inspected and released after Duncan County Planning Engineering staff found that the subdivision wasn't compliant with the subdivision's stormwater ordinances. So I'm saying there exists stormwater ordinances. It says the staff performed planning review and field inspections, including but not limited to inspections for stormwater catch basins, dams, etc., to ensure that the building, that what was built on site was consistent with the plans that went through. Most importantly, the engineer of record has certified under seal that the stormwater systems are functioning and were built with the specifications of the defined engineer. Additionally, all roads and the same analysis and certification. So my first question is a clarification that was done when to go to the building. That's the question of where it has to go now.
I know Mr. Williams is here, could you answer this? Help shed some light on this?
Absolutely. Mayor, council member, good evening. I'm Will Lee with WGLA Engineering. We were the design engineers for the Neighbor Trace project. We designed roads, stormwater collection systems, stormwater management systems. What I can tell you is that the certification that we provide was a certification not only for the pond, but for the collection system as well. Oakland County has a very meticulous process now in place for review and inspection. We had to inspect concrete inlets, catch basins, pipes. There were a number of points that were made in that review that the developer had to go back and assess and complete. And so I'm comfortable with the certification that we provided for the stormwater collection system. And I believe that I have great respect for this fellow. History is the certification and the approval from both the plans and certification that the county has accepted with the collection system as well.
Can you talk about the piping system on the building and using what was the general septic life stand?
Sure. The stormwater collection system is almost exclusively piping. I guess we call it F1 piping, double wall. That is the standard of practice For most roads today, you will see some reinforced concrete pipe on heavier roads. We're told that the life expectancy of that piping 50 years, perhaps longer. Yes, sir, thank you.
I have a question about maybe, and I'm not an engineer, so I don't know much about this, but how long is it going to be, how long is it going to take the next 7 years?
Great question. My memory, I have selections, but recollection is that the first phase started in 2014-15 timeframe. I believe the construction actually occurred in 15-16, so we're around the 8-year mark. Thank you for saying the first phase is complete.
So my question is, the post of the end of storm impact is really looking good. Under the roads, if there was going to be a problem, would you not see that kind of?
I wouldn't want to speculate on that. That's impossible to tell. There are things that could occur, for instance, utilities, private utilities, that could be installed, have an impact on that. So I don't want to speculate if we wouldn't see or we would see any issue. Certainly, we would see any type of failure that might occur many times. It will happen very early in the project life. But there are things that can happen as a result of a problem like this.
I've got there, first of all, I'd like to say, I would like to see a committee put together to annex Maple Trace. Mr. Fennell, Mr. long ago, that the length of the roads, brand new and would be 100%. The last fourth condition, Maple, and I think he said 80%, something thereabout. So that tells you that probably be some time to repay this money. Not knowing what's needed.
Right.
So, I'm assuming that his annex, you fall in the same categories as I mentioned earlier about the ranks and the according to, I think the DOT standards because condition of the road. And like I said, we all like to have rainy roads all the time. Mine on the list, and I don't think it's going to come off, they change position. But I would be in favor of the annexation with the conditions that go into the regular, doing on Third Street, the road repair, and the penalty coming at 80%. This is more confident, but I would know.
I'm putting on the formal motion, sir.
No, and did you know how to?
I haven't made my comments yet. So the board knows.
I got it.
Mr. Chase, condition.
I would also like to go back to, we originally, several months ago, talked to Maple Trace Homeowners Association about the possibility of $134,000 escrow, which, at first, the, vice chair was willing to talk to us about. And that's kind of when this fell apart, and they said, no, they didn't want to put that kind of money down for the escrow. They'd rather just pay the initial road themselves for lesser money and not have the overview of the Weaverville Public Works. What Mr. Pintle did say, Mr. Jackson, was that the first road, which is the lower road, would immediately have to be repaired. So that again would be part of the condition, that road would be repaired, or $134,000 escrow. And Mr. Tate, Mr. Jackson's condition, I still, I hear what everybody else is saying, that the roads don't meet the standard and that it actually is a breach of the establishments of what we've been doing for years. And I do believe that this will put us at a deficit. I don't think Maple Trace wants to be annexed if the roads are not repaired. So even though multiple people have said up here, said it would be great to annex them, just don't take the roads I don't see anybody taking, that as a motion. I would be willing to make the motion that we like to.
Right now, we have a motion on the floor, though, to annex, make the very good conditions, and make sure I, what we got there, would be repair the entry road to back to town standards. That there are roads that go into the regular locations, simple repaving, and that they conduct the test of the whole system. That sounds right.
Add that when they refer to the different roads and town standards that we will have overview.
Yeah, you know, I think that's the best thing.
Well, it's good that you say this, because it's good to.
So that those have to be specified. Are there any other questions, or any other, anything back in this motion?
No, I didn't understand this. The conditions and all of that, like the place with them, that much longer to be done. Okay. And that the roads will go into a rotation and then they'll be here immediately, but.
You have to.
Same use we have. And I'm not understanding about the storm.
The stormwater test with the 9,000 test the piping in the storm.
Conditions that reflects the county interface. And stormwater, but.
The thing we have to take that, we don't want to keep these on.
I think my opportunity is the fact of the road, and some of them have issues. And we want to make sure that the type of functioning, accordingly, because if they're not, then it's not the paving for some period. So, it's a fairly minor expense in the, but I think that.
Don't understand the scope of the motion, and on very good numbers. If they're not, we can do it, aye.
I just curious if I could.
And as they're coming up, as they're coming up, if I could sort of talk through procedurally what we're doing here, and I think it would be good to restate the motion just to make sure that you're all clear on what Councilmember Jackson for the amended motion is. But I think the vote right now is going to set this up, and I think this is an important conversation to let the HOA folks know what those conditions are. And then that way they can, this is voluntary annexation. You have a condition in here that they are not willing to accept, then you can't annex them. And so what I sort of see is this is a preliminary vote just to let the HOA understand your position on this. And then if they're agreeable, we can bring back to the next meeting an annexation ordinance for adoption. So that.
So what they do is right now, are you all okay with this?
If you're getting ready to adopt an ordinance, you need something in front of you to see what that ordinance says. So I would also say if you're getting ready, to annex something, with 144 properties on it, Mr. Kennel's folks can't go pick up their garbage next week. And so the effective date of this annexation needs to also be considered, and I will propose, if this is where you're headed, a January 1st, effective date of the annexation. That doesn't mean you can go ahead and annex. The effectiveness, though, is important to allow staff to prepare for that.
Folks in the HOA, you've heard the conditions, are you agreeable to them? Mr. Mayor, Council, David King, 192 Worley Drive. We are agreeable with the 10-year rotation that's been put out.
It wasn't a 10-year, it's a.
Okay, the rotation, whatever that was. To be put in the rotation, we're agreeable to repair that 1,200 feet of entrance we'll do that. We did start out talking about we would give money to the town, but then there was some concern. That got off track, and we wanted to make sure if we put this money in it, it's gonna be done. Now, I know it'll take some months, maybe a year and a half to get it done. But we want to make sure that it happens. As far as $9,000 for rain inspection, the problem with that is, it's not even the money, it's how it's going to be viewed when it comes back. Either we're good or we're not good, and, you know, we want to know whether we're annexed or not, and not come back later and say, oh, well, I found this little niche or something in the drain, so you know, be annexed. That is what we do not want.
That's that concern. If we vote to annex, the annexation will happen, it may have to be to a later, effective date later, which keeps on, these have to be done.
And so forth.
I would think that's somewhat.
Right.
The stormwater would have to pass into the back, what I'm saying.
Come on over, it's been raining. Hey, come on over and see it.
Is there any more comments?
Oh, asking them to do this, because of $9,000, they have to submit. If we don't like it, then that's not $9,000 in one. If it doesn't pass, then we'll certainly know how to fix it. If it doesn't pass, then it goes along with the other three things.
Sounds like there's a lot of things that needs to be ironed out, you know, exactly needs to do. But I like the idea that we can kind of consider a way to make a preliminary deadline kind of thing. You can take the week back and say it's close, and if you don't make the effective date until later, the ones that we have time to work out.
The deposit that I'll tell you is that annexation must be done by ordinance. It's in the law, authorized in statute. It also is one of the very few things that once you take action to adopt an annexation ordinance, it is done. It cannot be undone without a North Carolina legislative act. And so as Councilmember Lawrence said, I like where you're going with this. I just caution you to make sure that you aren't getting ahead of where you want to be.
So what if we could vote on actually the one annex on the conditions of the state? The effective date is then we want to make time for any provision, specified this time for, stormwater test to be continued, and then for the ordinance action to be written up. So usually we already have on the 10th, no. That makes sense, folks?
So it wouldn't be time to the judge to be fair to the thing, but when it would be adopted in, let's say, take place within a period of time.
And the other thing I wanted to clarify, I know that there was some, seemed like there was a little bit of a discrepancy on what the HOA originally planned to do with the repairing of the road, which was do some patches and then top it with 2 inches. What I wanted to make sure that I'm hearing you so I can get it written correctly. Y'all want it redone to town standards, which I think according to Mr. Pennell, is the milling of the road, the proof rolling of the base to make sure that if there are soft spots, those are corrected. And then have your pavement on top of that. Is that where town council is on that?
Are you talking about intersection?
Yes, the 1,200 feet.
Yeah, well, we would have to have a time frame, because I see that if you're going to this year, you have to explain it.
There would be. We've already been looking into it, and we can't get anyone works for. What our intent was, if we do this, is we would have Mr. Bowie, his engineering firm would let the contract, oversee contract, and the testing, whatever's needed, because that's not our thing.
So that's the other. Back to what was mentioned originally, where we were talking about, maybe putting some money up front and then paying some money over time. The reason we got back to where we were decided we would do, we didn't want to be in the Weaverville business. But it became, when all was said and done, it looked like, okay, we were gonna pay out over 5 years, but the road wouldn't be done until the end of that 5 years. So that was just not acceptable. Now, I think we've had a discussion about this before. If we have a contract and we know, a reasonable time, just like we would be, subject to weather and all the things in town, if we had an agreement that said, that the roads will be repaired, but that money basically will be earmarked and say going into the general fund. We've got a contract today. We would be willing to do that. If that makes you more comfortable.
So we have one that's actually written, what if the council has the other issue, so that the council can essentially annex, Maple Trace, with the commissions and the progressive staff to work out the details before that, active date.
When you ultimately, that's fine for you to do that, that can be done as a motion, that can be done as a resolution. But ultimately, what you're aiming for, you have to have an annexation work.
Yes, so that's, we don't have that, no, what I'm saying is, you have to do it based on intent, if you can.
Yeah.
But it makes it obvious that when you do, as long as you're doing that.
So we do have a motion on the floor. I don't know whether, we clearly, if you would like to withdraw it, we can start over, that's fine.
Let's start over.
Well, so is it a motion or is it a resolution? Adopt the resolution.
You want to do the path resolution, it's based on intent, but if it gives time for the other to be. If you want to say about it.
I want to keep the motion as it is and put a date down that within a year for the first part to be repaired or something like that.
I'm sorry.
We're done with counseling.
The interest part, what within 1 year.
We're willing, if this will give council a measure of comfort, and build security, we will pay $134,000 to the town. We just need to be worked out how. We were going to do it because we wanted to make sure it got done. And that it was going to happen, not 5 years out. We wanted it done within a reasonable time. And of course, we, just like the town, would be subject to what, paving companies can do, when they can do it, weather, requirements, what happens weather-wise. So, if that makes council more comfortable, we can do that. That takes us out of the loop of the repairing. We'll pay that $134,000 and, have that done by the town. That's more acceptable.
You know how quickly you can pay that?
Fairly quickly.
We're going to pay a lot of bill.
Before January 1, I guess it's going to happen.
Yes. Yeah, I understand. Oh,
No, but you
We'll let it do it. We'll let it do it. Let's not do it. Remember, we had some of these before. So,
$134 plus or minus $1,000, that I've mentioned before, was if we took our current contractor who paid these streets today, we have a contractor who needs to do 10 streets in town. If we said we want to apply the same exact process that they're using for those streets, for that first section, of the road there to make the crevice, calculated with the lanes and so forth, so on. That was the estimate that I came up with using actual properties, so,
if we receive that money in a lump sum check, it's in an escrow account, and whenever we, are able to do it this fall, or actually the weather warms up in the spring, our contractor to do that, then that should be sufficient time. to do it. And then I'm hoping that what I heard in the discussion was that if when they do the $9,000 storm study, which is just a video of every building pipe and every structure they have. If we find that the results of that video shows a particular location that is defective, that they would have funds available to use to fix that. Well,
That's what I heard.
make a trace.
Well, let me see if I can use this one. For the initial revenue that what's that. Most of the annexing is trace and for conditions that they pay $104,000. The town to rebuild the entry roads, the neighborhood roads are going on regular repaving locations. And they would conduct a test of a stormwater system and there's sufficient time to repair. Yeah, on active time. Anybody got questions at this point? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Welcome to the meeting. Next item up.
Stay for the rest of the meeting.
We're gonna miss the update. That's fine. Wait just a minute. I need more. Okay, so you can get the really, but I encourage you to leave, we'll get back to business. Thank you very much. Next item up is our MSP update, and that's the Metropolitan School District, by the way. And our board member at MSP is there, and so I can't believe the people that sit around and give you a report, but you give it anyway. Okay, I promise you, this will not be exciting. Thank you. This is the semi-annual update. Back in December, on the status of a recap of some of you. System to county was established in the 1960s. And at that time, the common system combined a combination of municipal system, a private system, and they have since then. The service area is largely parts of Buncombe County, but also in recent years we've added parts of Northern Independence County. The board is consisting of 14 members. With 3 from Buncombe County, 3 from
boards and so forth. Woodland has two, one representing the town, and one representing the water authority district. And Vincent County, our chairman, some years has been very involved in the area of Woodland. The longtime attorneys, Billy Clark and the Dutch Division. The executive director is Tom Hardy, he's been around for 20 years. The board also has 5 planning committees, planning, personnel, finance, capital improvements program, advisory. And I serve on the planning and personnel committee. The budget this year for FY 22-25 is $69.3 million, which is a substantial increase over last year. You see the figures for how that budget is put together, operations and maintenance, CIP, a lot of the budget, placement, this year, we're included a 2.7% COLA for staff, additionally, lower grade after the living wage, to the area of 20% now. And we see the other competitions with the personnel. Full-time staff is now 153 last year. Average years of service with the organization for 11 years, that rate is 35. Total rate is very low, 2.3%. And your average result is very low. So you can call that stability or competition. Maintenance is for, I think, is the situation to be the compensation. That's a month ago, 7 months ago. The compensation is the building office, but we talked about built a new crew. The time capacity at that time, today, the current demand is 3.1 million gallons a day. That includes allocations. Which we want to use our water. So that triggers a requirement in environmental quality to upgrade or replace the capacity 5 to 6 million gallons a day. And the new station is being designed for 50 years worth of protection. You want to upgrade that time for that year. The project award is division $24.9 million. The cost is down for slightly after 24 million. The right-of-way acquisition has been designed in process, and the field site organization will start soon. The construction is due to start in October, and the project is due to come in and completion after the life of 2026. And so, as we talked about that, we focused on that timeline, and it's trying to do it nicely with expansion of our water system, water plant, with the new hospital complex coming on, and the physical construction. And what?
No, Brian, you're absolutely right. 2 years from now, very good situation.
Yeah.
Is the new compensation on the truck or the other one is, or
I don't know if it is, pinball playing. So there's a site of the plant of the pumping station up there is all behind fencing and security and so forth. So the new facility will be built adjacent to it. And then when the switch is put, the new system, the new piping system is operational, and the water will be shut down and then the facility.
Any questions for Mr. Thank you, service on that one. Next item up is the water commitment, no response, modify the condition of that water commitment today, and, Director Pound.
Good evening again. What you have before you is a revision to the approved water commitments from Oak Ridge Farms. This comes to us from a long discussion that we've had with the developer. As you may recall, and it's on page 48 in your agenda package, back in January, we voted to approve the water commitment from Oak Ridge Farms, but the number one condition in that was for them to serve the development with two separate lines. One that was already installed, in Oak Ridge Farms Parkway, and then the back, or probably lobby for rented to they put up there for the development. But we needed a second line in case anything ever happened to the first line, and so a new line on Hill Branch Road is what we have recommended. They originally agreed to that, and then started to work on their project, and they put it to that to us and said, I know you said it, I know you put it in the agreement, I know it was one of the conditions, but no, we want to. And so we disagreed with their disagreement, and so we had to have a meeting in mind. And what we were able to do a month or two ago was come up with an alternative plan that gave us that second waterway. And eliminated the dual branch option. And that second water line starts and runs on North Ridge Common Parkway, and on the opposite side of the road from where the existing line. That way, if we fill the issue and somebody broke one of our water lines, we still have a water line to North Ridge Farm. And it's in an established area, it would serve that function as well as, more by direction to more comment and go ahead and do it. And so they were willing to do that, and they have produced preliminary plans to show that second line. How it will all be connected together once both lines reach their development. So what we're asking you to do now is to consider the approval of that, of the second water source, that was done on the North Ridge Parkway.
Are there any questions from this panel? Not had a motion that we approve the modification of the water commitment for North Ridge Farm. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Thank you, sir. Thank you. I don't know if you follow, to go again for lead service, line, and location.
Lead service line, fine, and then blade project is what they're, what.
Fine. That now.
Give you a very, very brief explanation. The federal government has done something unusual. They have given us an unfunded mandate, but they may fund it. To the tune of about $15 billion. And it's part of all the different programs that the government has to give what they're doing. So anyway, this one has to do with the EPA has made some very important decisions regarding what they call LSL, lead service line. And that means the line that connects your water meter to your house cannot be lead. They've identified that as a penalty and a very
clear proof that those lead lines can cause cancer. As a result, what they requested and now require that every water system in the United States has to provide an inventory of every water service line in our system. That means that we have to, the inventory, and that's about 3,000 water. We have to, by October 16th this year, we have to be able to produce the biggest Excel spreadsheet you've ever seen that has 3,000 lines in it, one for each one of the water meters, and we have to be able to tell them with as much certainty as we can about those, the service lines of each one of those meters to the house and what kind of materials it is. And so there's quite an effort that's going on and has been going on since back in the early spring by the Public Works Water Maintenance Division. We've been doing that. There were spare minutes that we're not reading water meters or doing 811 call locations or and all things that would be exceeding their speed in the water line. That's what the crew was doing all over the water system and giving out those water services. Ones that were done since about 1984, almost all copper. So we eliminate a portion of that, but the ones that are older, particularly in the downtown area and some of the homes along Main Street, we physically go to those homes and dig up the side of the water meter box that's on the outside and see what the material is. So we're in the process of doing that, and then there's the money that we need to. That's the form of a grant that you have to apply for. And our consultants who are helping us with our water treatment plant were able to point out to us that there is a grant application that's due on September 30th. And they can complete that grant application and submit it to the state treatment water folks and get us in the loop and qualify for money that would pay us to go and replace those red lines at the time. So, well, you know, before you were asking for a vote to pay Lucas and Marinell $7,500 to do all the work that's needed on that federal application to put us in the running to be able to have a chance at a portion of that $15 million. Can I answer anything for you?
Yeah, so first of all, I never reviewed that spreadsheet on that. Five, not one five. And second, so to make sure I understand, like, if we get the grant money, then this would this pay for not only the lead lines that might be town owned, but also lead lines that might go to homeowners that pays for the lines in the area of the house, the new house.
And if we find one that's lead in the middle of the house, we're going to back check that from the meter to the main and see if possibly that section. We're going to probably check it and probably the object is to have a water system that is 100% free of any lead going pipe.
Any other questions? Have a motion to approve the fund to pay
There's a resolution, not in packet, it does authorize the application, so you will consider that.
Move to approve the resolution. I think we can sign up. Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. Item E, annexation of the minimum of $9,000. Never in the,
Whether this one will be less controversial or less time-consuming for these, for your considerations. So this is to remind you. The right page. So this is a non-Pleasant Grove Road, started out with a water request several years ago. And you, provided the water commitment and did not require annexation. They came back to you and renewed their water commitment a year later. And at that point, it was contiguous to the 480 Reach Creek property that was newly annexed. And so at that renewal time, you asked this project, the condition of the water renewal of the water commitment was to annex it. And so they've been working on that. We actually did public hearings on that back in March. They asked for a little bit of a delay in the action on the annexation. So they come back to you at this point with a slightly modified annexation request, and that is to take, instead of the 10 acres that was originally proposed on this, they would like that only the portion of property that the townhouse property, project is on, that's what they would like to come in at this point. So that is a little bit of a difference in what you originally saw, that it would annex, if we agree to it, it annexed 5.27 again. The remaining parcel is 3.84 acres, and I would expect that they would be coming back with any development that's going to have to request water, and you could again condition water on annexation and on that fact. It's separate it out into the annexation.
And then when I noticed something on the, it looks like that the developed area is no longer considered the flood average zone. Probably that. That's probably
I think what they did, they moved a lot of dirt in there, and so I do think that some of the was building up so that there was less area on that front part parcel, or front part of the parcel. I think you're right.
Any questions?
It's an annexation ordinance in there for you to consider.
I'm just making a visual, but, this was exclusively as part of it, right?
Yes. All right.
And that was based on 10 acres. Is R3 still applied with 5.27?
That's a really good question. It came to you with vested rights, because when the town originally said, we don't care, or fell out of the county for that year, they went and got the legal from the county. And so you're going to zone this, or the planning board recommended that it be zoned R3, although it really, it supports townhouse development and really is passion, but it's still subject to the special use permit that is in the permit.
Any questions? Is there a motion to approve the annexation zone for non-public road? Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. Quarterly report from Planning Director Ellis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. I'd like to begin with an apology for missing last week's workshop. Long scheduled vacation with the conflict. The planning department report is relatively straightforward as always. I'll leave the numbers alone, and it's pretty self-evident. I'll address some activity with the planning board. Back in April, the board reviewed all their recommendations, town council on zoning 75 Fort Road. Upon annexation, that property was since been voted on in the zone. Board also reviewed information related to sign regulations and short-term rentals. In May, the board reviewed all their recommendations, town council related to legal compliance with sign regulations. Those tax amendments have also been adopted in the interim. Conversations related to the short-term rental regulations continue. And finally, Jane, the board offered a recommendation to town council on proposed regulation for final. Then for an hour, we wanted it this morning, and she gave me a very long session of that, moving forward based on the conversation on, previous evening. And lastly, related to the board of adjustment, with no actionable application, staff provided the board with a training session on topic of the rating standards. That being said, I'll take any questions we want to make.
We have a question for, Michelle. Last is our full report from finance, and finance director.
So tonight I have the final quarter report for 2024, fiscal year 2024, which closed out on June 30th. Our audit is set for August 5 through 9. The auditor will be here for a week to do the field work, and then they'll report their findings to you at the beginning of October November meeting. But because we are in the audit now, our adjustment cabinet here, you won't find the monthly budget reports in the report tonight. But on page 76, I put together some highlights and projections of where we think we is at in. The table at the top of the page has listed our major revenues. If you look in the middle of the column, the variance, I'll give you a good idea of what came in the below budget. So our ad valorem taxes came in just 2.7% above, but under 10,000 above budget. B&B and utility tax also came in a good bit above. Sales tax, unfortunately, and the Buncombe County fire tax, because of the sales tax piece of Buncombe County fire tax, both of those came in slightly under budget. We can take right now. That could change. ABC store right now looks a little under budget. They seem to always come in at the last minute with another distribution or something an audit. Right now, we're still waiting on the being distribution. So, I do expect that to get up to the budgeted number. Interest income kind of saves the day. Rates haven't fall during the year like they predicted. So we did come in 225,000 above budget in our interest income. And water revenue 3.4% above budget, and system development fees 30,000 above budget. So overall, positive variance about 441,000. That is general fund and water fund. Part of that general 256,000 general. The rest of them are already in. And then some other highlights, we did spend almost 2.5 million on capital items, on project funds, the capital items, vehicles we purchased, barricades, the streets that were paved, the playground, the street sweeper, water lines replaced, still waiting on the garbage truck. So that'll get, let's see that. The paving program, we had a big check money in the paving program, we got about half of it done before the end of June, and the other half is underway now. But we're going to be appropriating about $174,000 for that. So community center rental fees, almost 74,000, and prior year was about 60,000, so that's a 25% increase from prior year. And then at the bottom of the grant fund, you see the EV charging stations, which are out front here at Home Lawn, the police department. And you see the grant fund of 18,000. The school resource officer for the police department that Weaverville got from Buncombe County that came in, gym of 52,000. And then we got a safety grant from the barricade we purchased, we got another $5,000 for that. And then required on the last 3 pages are the project funds that are unfortunately each quarter. The recreation complex is really close to being finished. The FEMA's final decisions are made on the pavilion and the restroom, that final piece we're talking about. We did the final budget and close out this project. And then on page 78, the water treatment plant expansion project, which we spent a little over $500,000. Cumulative today, all our engineering fees so far. And then finally the resiliency project on page 79. We spent $62,000 on that project. Still waiting on the hearing. We have got some equipment, some switches that we need. I come in and the rest is engineering. And then page 79, the resiliency project on page 79. We spent $62,000 on that project. Still waiting on the hearing. We have got some equipment, some switches that we need. I come in and the rest is engineering. And then page 80, the resiliency project on page 79. We spent $62,000 on that project. Still waiting on the hearing.
Last year, we had to go to $16,000 on moving. Thank you very much. If there's no more business to come before the council, we are adjourned.